Welcome to the Thought Arcade. Today we dare you to say no to our drugs.
Our drugs? What kind of drugs are we talking?
Are you making it sound like drug dealers, dude?
We're talking about the thought drugs,
Oh,
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
That
Well,
explains a lot more.
Yeah.
as you're gonna discover in this episode, daring does not work. The dare does not work. Daring to listen to our thought drugs is not gonna work. But why is that, guys? Why did dare and if you grew up in the 90s, if you grew up, I guess early 2000s or whatever, and you're in elementary school and you're getting forced to pin a ribbon on your shirt, why doesn't that work? Why do we still do drugs?
Because we don't like being told what to do.
Exactly.
Every time our parents tell us not to do something, as kids, our first question is, why?
Mhm.
Why? And we're taught always to question things.
Yeah.
So, of course, when someone tells us at school, hey, don't do drugs, but why?
Yeah.
And also, they make it seem like you're going to end up just dying from everything.
That's so true. Yeah, that's exactly it.
It's like an extreme. You can't just sit there and say, hey, don't smoke. And obviously, as a kid, it's probably bad. I would say it's bad to smoke weed. But
obviously,
as an adult, your kind of opinion changes. And then at that point, it's just like, well, this message is kind of pointless, being that several states have actually legalized it.
Yeah. That's probably why they tried to initiate it when we were younger, like in our time frame, because it's so detrimental to our development. Our brains are still developing until we're I don't know, like 25 or something like that.
Yeah.
And they don't want us to mess all that up early on. And I guess kids are weird. Back in the day, I don't know, 50s, kids would smoke cigarettes,
Yeah.
Kids had access to cigarettes like that.
I think it's also because when you're a baby, when you're a newborn baby, that's when you're most influenced by the outside world, because you're your brain is starting to develop. And I think that happens even more in elementary school, middle school, leading up to high school.
Mm-hmm.
Because all these years you're taught to kind of figure out how you interact or how you are as a person, how you want to be as a person, and so to kind of put D.A.R.E in place, they were hoping to be influential in that kind of aspect, to say, hey, if we get them now moving forward, they'll kind of put their own perspective into thinking drugs are bad. But again, we're also we question everything when we were younger. That at that point it doesn't really work as well. If they had brought it in, maybe I would think that if they had maybe brought it in middle school with a little bit more facts than making me run around a freaking gym, then I would be more receptive to it. But it's elementary school. Just let me go play dodgeball with my friends.
Yeah, so that's what you remember there. So they made you run around like a gym or something like that?
Yeah, they made us run around the gym. They sat us. This whole thing happened. So our school, it was like a gym, and then right outside the gym, on one side with this huge grass field, and then on the other side they had this just empty parking lot. So they would just make us run around the grass field. They had a few games set up on the parking lot of a few. They would speak and then have us set up a game. And that we would play. It wasn't a long or quick game. It wasn't long enough to be engaging.
Yeah.
Because all these things were rushed, and they were a time. It was typically during right after lunchtime or in the morning when you first got to school. So it was very limited on time, and it just, I don't know. Now that I look on it, it was real pointless, and Elijah's name fits.
Yeah, for sure. What I remember is being lined up single file and forced to actually speak on a pledge and in a really fascistic fashion. What do you remember, Elijah?
So I remember in middle school, we role played, and I had to role play the drug dealer, to convince the class to do drugs.
Nice, dude. Did you get anybody?
No. the little D.A.R.E representative was like, "You have to say no." And then I also remember in high school, we had like these fake WWE people come, and they were like bending steel bars and like punching bricks and whatnot.
Whoa.
And at
We had
like
those
the
guys
end
one
of it, there was like a guy who told a story of like this kid that wanted to fit in, and so he went to like a house party, and he got dared to drink like a whole handle of like Jack, but it was like his first time he ever drank. He drank it all, then he passed out, but then he threw up, but his friends didn't know what to do, so he like choked on his vomit.
Oh God.
Yeah, and then they went back to like bending steel bars and stuff.
Yeah.
And like don't drink, and then you can do this. And
Nice.
it was just
That's
it was
so true, though.
stupid.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's really like I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything like that. Even then, that's like not even effective. You know, like
Yeah.
like look at what I can do. Not do like we were such an experiment with all of these things that they didn't want us to do. You know, like as I don't know, I guess we were in elementary and also in middle school. Like we were the great experiment with all these things, but it was portrayed as if you do this, this happens. It wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't a really it didn't really let you think about all of the things that actually go into all of this stuff.
Yeah. It wasn't engaging
Yeah,
as
was
a
treated as
program. It just
something.
said, take this pledge to dare to not do drugs.
Yeah,
And then, like, especially like in high school, where maybe you could have had like personal stories of drug abuse
mhm.
or presented like, like a symposium type thing with like facts and like a little seminar about stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of just having these random like I don't even know what they were, dude.
Yeah.
Just like some strongmen coming to your school, wasting
Yeah.
3 hours of your day, and you're glad that you're just there, not doing work.
You're not doing schoolwork. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the only plus side about it, is that we didn't have to do any schoolwork. But again, like this is such an extreme, because they try to structure your thinking. They tried to keep you in this box when it comes to doing drugs and saying, well, if you drink even a sip of alcohol, then you'll end up dead. Or like every situation they said, everything that they said that with my program is you're dead. You're dead. You're dead.
Yeah.
And they try to, and it's almost, I would argue it's almost a little bit manipulative in the sense that like they're trying to get us to think that we can, like, these things can happen and we'll just die instantly.
Yeah, well, what I was gonna say was that like middle school and high school, I think that's probably. I mean, we were introduced to the D.A.R.E program in elementary, but I think like late middle school and high school is when you can start to really introduce these things and do them in a way that doesn't insult your capacity to make decisions on your own. It's like they presented it to us like, yeah, we don't know any better. We don't need to explain to you the step-by-step process of how it affects you or how you would even get in this situation, the emotions behind it, the actual physical effects behind it, and why it would seem nice to do them. Like there's a reason why people go to drugs and stuff like that, but they totally like insult our intelligence in that way. Yeah, we're middle schoolers and high schoolers and stuff, but we're still learning and we're going through that. We're developing, and they just insulted our intelligence. They were just like, "You're gonna die, dude. Like, trust us. You're gonna die."
Yeah. Like what is that nonsense? I would have much rather like appreciated them doing it in like middle school or even like beginning of high school rather than elementary school, because I'm still trying to learn cursive in elementary school. Let me focus on that first. That is hard. But like, like you're saying, like middle school and high school, like you're developed a little bit more. At least you have a little bit more like reasonable thinking. You're a lot more logical in that like aspect of learning. So like and then also if they came with straight facts, Like, give me statistics, give me numbers, give me something that I can relate this to. Don't bring two fake wrestling dudes who just want to bend a frying pan, tell me a quick story, and then go back to bending that same frying pan for another hour.
Yeah. It's like it's almost like treating like like a baby's like attention span, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at this. Ooh. Hey, don't do drugs, you're gonna die.
Yeah, and that's like their
Exactly.
proponent for D.A.R.E was like, if you can reach out to the youth to learn to say no and have these workshops of like how to get out of situations, because apparently all you're gonna do as an adult is just get bombarded with drug users wanting you to do drugs, which I've never been offered any drugs, so that's a lie. Their proponents is if we hit them young, then they'll just keep saying no, and it's part of like an expansion of Nancy Reagan's Just Say No program from the early '80s.
Yeah,
and so
yeah,
it's interesting about like that, like trying to condition children, and then throughout their development process of, hey, say no to drugs.
Like it's a noble cause, like of course you don't want a bunch of kids on drugs, but it's just it's just I'm getting reminded a bunch of stuff like I think Ed from Ed, Edd n Eddy, like how he's just like, oh, shiny, like that, like they think we're all Ed from Ed, Edd n Eddy, like,
oh my god,
right? Yes.
Show the kids something shiny and then tell them an important message and they'll get it.
Yeah.
What does D.A.R.E even stand for? I don't even know what D.A.R.E stands.
D.A.R.E stands for Drug Abuse Resistance Education.
Drug administered rhinos.
Elephants. I don't know.
Nice. Nice. Another thing too that tied into D.A.R.E though was that there were like law enforcement involved as well.
Okay.
Like I remember in middle school, I think is when they had like a police officer along with the teachers or whoever was like quote certified with D.A.R.E or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember them like coming and talking and stuff like that. But I think the ultimate thing comes down to when I was reading a couple articles like from Scientific America. If you go and tell somebody don't do it, you're doing Inception.
Oh yeah. You're like
which
doing reverse
was like the biggest which is like the number. So like this failed on like a psychological factor because you're telling a bunch of high schoolers, hey, don't smoke weed. The first thing they're going to think about is, hey, let's go smoke weed. And according to the Foundation Recovery Network, by 2013, over 20% of high schoolers tried marijuana despite being in the D.A.R.E program.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we were all forced into this D.A.R.E program. It wasn't like, I kind of remember if you don't wear your ribbon, they like hound you. They like get after you and figure out like, oh, are you going to do drugs? Like you need to put your ribbon on, dude. Like you're not going to go back to the classroom.
It's like in Seinfeld, the AIDS walk, and Kramer doesn't want to wear the AIDS ribbon.
Oh, right.
And then he gets like bullied into wearing the ribbon.
Yeah, for sure.
We got ISS in school suspension if you didn't wear the ribbon.
Yeah.
Like if you did, so because they have it every year. There was one year that I remember a little bit more than the others and it was in the morning. So we would get dropped off at school. We would go into the cafeteria. Everybody we would eat breakfast, do our thing. They would hand out ribbons to each of their classes. We'd wear the ribbon. If you didn't put on the ribbon by the time you from the cafeteria to the gym where it was, you're going to like ISS, like in school suspension, and then that was it. And it's just like, but the thing is usually those are the kids who are just like, okay, like they would much rather be in like in school suspension than.
Did y'all ever have to
not doing homework?
Did y'all ever have to do like specific? There are like specific days for doing stuff. like each day like evolved around like a theme or whatever with the Red Ribbon Week.
I'm slowly remembering stuff like that, but I
My
don't remember
mom
the
worked
themes.
with this lady, and she had like this little bitty home office thing, and like one of her thing was she made Red Ribbon. I can't. Oh my god! I can't
Time,
talk.
please. One more
That's a
time.
hard
Red
one, dude. That's a hard
Ribbon
one, dude.
Week.
That was like Elmer Fudd, dude. Like
Yeah.
we can
Women.
hunt them wabbits in the wet women's in the.
Just so, hey, listeners, just so you guys know, we're recording this a little bit early, and Elijah's kind of getting accustomed to the time right now.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, but that was a hard one though. That was a hard
Red
one.
Ribbon Week packets
hard one,
and pamphlets and stuff like that. Like she created all of those things, like sold them to the schools and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah.
So we did have different themes for like day. I think one day was our like Patriots Day. D.A.R.E was always on a Friday. That's all I remember. Like D.A.R.E for us was always on a Friday during Red Ribbon Week. We would have like Patriots Day, something related to food, like Pizza Day. I don't know, something. I forgot the complete. I forgot Red Ribbon Week until you actually just mentioned it. But
yeah, like we had like I can't remember like what specific day, but like each day revolved around something. Especially like in elementary school, it was like Monday was like, what's your favorite breakfast cereal? And we had to like be our breakfast cereal for the day or something like that, you know. And then it was like that throughout the week, and then I guess that Friday it was like the big D.A.R.E thing. But like middle school and high school, it was just like we had like a little lecture, you know.
Yeah.
That actually brings up a great point. Do you think that for Red Ribbon Week, if they had D.A.R.E on Friday, do you think if they did like days that more revolved around Red Ribbon Week revolved around D.A.R.E before the actual day, like Monday through Thursday, do you think if they had those topics, would it have been more effective?
I don't know.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like,
it's
what would y'all do to make
it's a
it
really
more
big
effective?
topic to talk about drug abuse in society, and you're trying to get kids to not do it. I think a way I would like part of me wants to go the route of exposing them to like bring in a drug addict and be like, hey, it's kind of like how like the Faces of Meth program type thing.
Yeah.
Where it kind of just relies on like shock value and like, hey, this is gonna be you if you tried drugs once, you know. But like,
or bringing that lady with the thing, like,
oh yeah, with the little hole in her thing in her throat,
that gets me like feeling.
Oh yeah, they would classify cigarettes as drugs too at this time.
Yeah, cigarettes,
like for us,
and then
too.
well, it was tobacco use, alcohol,
one
and
they
then
could really speak on.
drugs.
You know, they didn't speak on like weed or meth or anything like that.
Yeah,
really like, hey, don't smoke cigarettes. Yeah, that was mainly like their niche.
Yeah,
and I don't know what we should do as a society in terms of education. I think that there should be some sort of program for that, absolutely. But I wouldn't put it in middle school or elementary school, you know?
Yeah, so I'm kind of like like two sides of this is if they had to do it in middle school, elementary school, if they kept doing it in elementary school, Jesus, I can't even remember which school is which.
Yeah.
Well, elementary's first.
Yeah.
1 through 5.
If they did it in elementary school and they did it against that whole week, that would have given them more time to write a plan on how to explain this to a child, to someone in elementary school, rather than rushing it within a day, sounding condescending, like we were mentioning earlier, Daniel, and just questioning or taking a hit at our intelligence.
Yeah.
Because that's what that one day was. And now they would have a whole week. If the whole Red Ribbon Week, they could have done like a day for each specific thing and been more, I don't know, informative about it.
My thing is
in middle school, it probably would have been a lot better if they had brought in those people who had dealt with these kind of situations, because that will I am in that part I'm speaking more personal, because if I had seen that would have hit more than me than someone telling me just not to do it. Like if I had seen someone who is a recovering crack addict I would have been more inclined to listen to that person's story and hear where they're coming from than having some random person through the D.A.R.E program tell me, hey, this could potentially happen. Because I don't know if that will happen. I don't like, they're giving me one path of what could happen if I do drugs. Like, and as we know, life is never consistent. Like, and not everybody's life is the same. So there could be a completely different route for what happens to me. I'm not saying I'm going to go out and try it, but it's never like a guarantee like this is going to happen.
Yeah, I think for me, like there was nothing ever was like condescending. It was just like I felt like it was pointless to me because I mean, like I have a hard time even taking stuff like Pepto-Bismol and Tylenol. Like I just don't do any stuff. I let my body work itself out, you know. And if I die, I die. You know,
leave out the foreign substances, man. Don't even
exactly
put that stuff in there, dude.
Exactly. So,
wait, hold on. I don't want to call you out, Elijah. But what was that story that you told about the pill situation and being around Dow's doctors or something?
Well, I have a hard time swallowing.
You tried like a Skittle once, right? Like just
I did swallow a Skittle. I used Skittles to practice.
And like Powerade, but it didn't work.
And it didn't work.
It takes practice, dude. I was the same way, dude. There was this one time I had to take this this like antibiotic and it tasted horrible. And it was it was all gritty and it would get all over my throat and stuff, and I just could not swallow it for the life of me.
I remember I got a pill crusher. And and like an 80-year-old grandma that I am, and I had to take an antibiotic once, and I come to the guy, to the pharmacist. I was like, "Hey, can I crush this?" And he just stares at me. And he's like, "You can if you're a little bitch.
You can if you want to snort it or something."
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, cool." And I always just crushed it, and then I put it into a shot glass with like some orange juice or something. And like that's how I take 99% of my pills.
I've gotten into a bad habit of like taking Tylenol and stuff without any water, so I'll just like swallow them right there on the spot.
How? What is wrong with you?
And I had a headache at work, and I had Tylenol, and I was about to take some, and I went over to Elijah before I took them, and we were talking about something. And then I just popped them in my mouth halfway through the conversation and swallowed. And he stops what he's saying.
He just took it like it was nothing.
Like a dry swallow. I can't do that, dude. That's
He's like, did you just take those pills without anything? He's like, yeah. He's like, you've never done that before? And that's when I learned that Elijah hates pills.
Well, the thing is, Val like told her other doctor friends about what a wuss I am with pills, and they all laughed at me.
Yeah.
Of course, I wasn't in the room where I would have defended myself, but still.
I
have taken Sudafed. I've done that.
Let's go fight some
I was
doctors.
Desperate enough.
Let's go fight some doctors. Let's go fight them, Elijah. I'm on my
for
way.
real.
I mean, some of these pills, though, dude. Like, I mean, I have trouble with even the Mucinex. When you
the Mucinex one is so bad.
Are huge, dude.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty good at taking pills nowadays.
You're pretty
good
swallowing.
Problem anymore.
Shut up.
What?
Pause,
don't
dude.
even,
I'm just
dude.
saying.
Don't even.
I'm just saying.
Don't even, bro. You can't.
You need a camera for that. You need a camera for that kind of joke.
Yeah. So
dude,
those
Go ahead,
pills are horrible. No, that's there are certain pills that I have trouble taking like nowadays, but it did take me a while. It takes practice to get like the pill swallowing stuff.
The Mucinex, I do have to like take them with water because you have to take 2 of those, and one of those is huge.
Yeah, they're big, dude.
And so you have to take the 2, and I'm just like, I need a gallon of water to make sure this like properly goes down my throat. Pause.
And it's a day and night one, and they're both like.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But anyway, so obviously we're not like
big druggies as you can see.
We can't even take prescription drugs like sometimes. What was your since this is kind of a I guess okay. So backing up to like what we wanted, like what we should do or what we could have done differently with D.A.R.E or something like that. I mean, I don't even know, dude. This is one of those things where I'm like, I should have learned this stuff from my parents type of thing, not like school. Like school should have taught me like math, how to read, all that good stuff. But even then, like, I don't know. That's just kind of weird for me.
I'm not.
There's a lot of things that I like. I completely agree with that statement. There's a lot of things that school tried to bring in and teach you that they have no need to teach you. Like, they like, why is it like, this is something I should hear from my parents. What are you gonna do? Like, I'm with this school for a little bit, like, and then I'm gone. Like, what am I gonna gain except for learning how to add what 4 + 4 is? Obviously 10, but
like, I think like I'm okay with schools doing some sort of program like that, because I think schools should teach you how to function in society. It shouldn't just be your parents, because I mean my parents just said don't do drugs. Like, they just did that, and so like, I think like for most people, like, schools are the only way they're going to learn anything,
that's so rough. That's hard to hear, like I think we should learn it from our parents, but you're right, like, or at least school should set the example of how you're supposed to be, and like how you're supposed to live, and but not like, I guess what we're learning here is that, and I can come up with a few other things here too, that we learn at school first, or that we hear of school first, and it's like it leads to a weird consequence. Like elementary school, 5th grade, I think, or 4th grade, they started showing us, what our bodies are about.
Oh, that's 3rd grade. And
3rd grade.
That was the most awkward class.
So,
ever.
Like, what was the immediate outcome of that thing? We got on the bus and we just started seeing a bunch of genitals. Like, literally, dude. Like, literally, that same day, we had a bunch of packets, like, that showed, the boys got
male
one.
puberty and female puberty, like what happens and stuff.
Did they separate the girls and the boys with you guys?
But then we had to get on the bus together, and
so this was at our school. They like took the girls
into 3rd grade. Like they took us
the one hallway.
Yeah, we were in our music class, and we had this
which made music class weird for the rest of the year, right? Like, oh, this is the place where I played music once. Oh, and this is also the place where I discovered what metal are.
This is where I discovered body hair grows.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we had like all those packets and stuff, and then right on the bus we like exchanged packets and stuff.
Well, I know there was no filter, there was no segregation there. We're not in separate rooms anymore, and then everyone starts pulling down their pants, and we're just like I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Have you guys seen the movie Superbad?
It's been a while though.
Do you recall the scene where he's like drawing all those like the genitals?
And
then he puts the pictures in his lunchbox and they find them. That's what I think of,
dude. It's accurate, dude. Because what they were trying to do was teach us something that, I mean, I'm thinking now, I'm like, I should have just learned this from my parents, so I don't have to I don't know.
Like for me, like I never had any of those like sort of talks with my parents.
I haven't either.
And so I think that's why I wouldn't say that they rely on the school to do it. Mm-hmm. But like I would say like over 75 to like 85% of parents will never have that sort of discussion with their kids. And so that's why schools and some sort of social program needs to step in.
Yeah, but I'm like, dude, I don't want a social that like we're seeing, like we were the great experiment, with these things, with D.A.R.E, with the like, okay, here's your body and your puberty and stuff, and then especially with sex ed and stuff like that. Those are the 3 main things I remember about what the school tried to teach us and stuff. And I'm thinking about the future and being a father, and what I should like. I want to shield my children from like TikTok, freaking like everything on TV, the VMAs. Like I don't want them to watch any of that stuff. But it's been proven now, like through all of the experiments that we've gone through in school, like us three, and everyone else, that whenever you say, hey, like, or whenever you censor things like that, whenever you're like, hey, don't do this, then they're just gonna go do it. So it's like, I shouldn't even censor my kids from all of this stuff either. I should just explain it to them in a way that doesn't demean them, or it doesn't insult their intelligence,
Yeah.
I
we
want
can
to
understand.
Also think that we're going through a period of normalization of drugs. Like, weed's getting legalized everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And then there's certain countries in Europe, like Portugal is a big example where like they legalized everything outside of like black tar heroin.
Oh yeah.
But they've legalized pretty much everything else.
Dang.
Amsterdam.
Yeah. The Netherlands, sort of the same route.
Yeah.
And I think that we're like, it's because we grew up with D.A.R.E, but then at the same time, we grew up with the normalization of certain drugs.
Yeah.
And it sends a contradictory message to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like on the one hand, don't do drugs, but on the other hand, CBD is the cure for everything under the sun, and it's the greatest thing that's ever happened. And we, need to consume it constantly. Type crap.
Yeah.
So
the
it's
D.A.R.E
just
days were like real early in where we stood with drugs, like you're saying. Like now, it's completely like they're like I don't know. I didn't know,
because I keep
all
thinking
of the
the
kinds of
90s
drugs
was
back
10
then.
years ago. It was 30 years ago.
Oh my God! Don't say it like that.
I will
dude.
say it like that because we need to open up our eyes.
I'm old, man.
So
you used to not be open
different.
your eyes, dude. You used to cringe whenever you said that too, but now you're all accepting. I still gotta catch up.
I'm not accepting of it.
But yeah, back to what Daniel was saying is like it is funny or not funny. It's interesting to see how drugs compare to like before as they do now. Because like I'm super accepting of like weed.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure a lot of people are. Like it's just it's a thing now. It's not even like at some points people don't even consider it a drug. Like it's just there.
Right.
And so, but back then, obviously with D.A.R.E, they're just like marijuana is bad.
It's the gateway drug.
It's the gateway drug.
Well, I mean, I would actually agree with that. It is a gateway drug, though.
It is.
But it's been proven to not be a gateway drug. Like the vast majority of marijuana users only use marijuana. They don't go on to anything else.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
when you bring
that in the 90 percentile. Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know it was like that.
It's like that's a big. That's been debunked.
I've known a lot of. I mean, I guess I just see it. I've seen it a lot. That a lot of the people I grew up with in middle school and high school started out smoking weed, and then all of a sudden they started trying, Xanax. They started trying this and that, and snorting this and snorting that, and getting hooked on this, and they just never like came back from that.
Yeah.
But
that's I also had the same experience where like I had friends that would try marijuana and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I tried this, maybe I should try something else. Like I guess I saw like that chain of it being like that kind of gateway, but I mean you bring that statistic and it's crazy.
How do you find that out though? How do you find out what they have or have not taken? That's what I want to know. Is it just all out their word, or
I have no idea how the survey was conducted, but the majority, like,
because most people think that
of all the weed smokers I know, like none of them do other things.
It's
like they probably drink, but that's it.
It's possibly through like blood, like they volunteered for like blood testing, and they gave them permission because that's the only way you could tell if like any other drug is in your system, pretty much. Like that's like the only consistent way. At least.
But like, I guess I would consider it, if they've tried weed and then at any point they've actually accelerated into like something else, like if they've experimented with anything else. But, that's hard to tell. But what's y'all's first? So talking about D.A.R.E, right? We're talking about D.A.R.E doesn't work. What's the first experience you've had with like somebody that you knew doing drugs? Like, middle school, high school, like when did you actually discover somebody?
I think high school.
School?
Yeah.
It was so It was like junior year of high school. So my freshman year of high school, I went to the smaller high school, and then sophomore through senior year, I went to a bigger one.
Mm-hmm.
And my sophomore year, it was kind of relaxing. I didn't really make any friends just yet because I was still kind of grasping things. My junior year is when I really came into my own person and like made all these friends.
Yeah.
And there's a group of friends that I hung out with, and they were all, I mean, like they were all good people, but they also like there were some of them that did drugs, and like when I was with them, they would do it, but I wouldn't really think anything of it.
Yeah.
And so that was probably my first experience with like people who like smoked weed, who drank.
Yeah.
They actually even like snorted pills.
Yeah.
Because apparently, and this is from them. I'm not quite sure how they got this information, but apparently it takes only 45 minutes for a pill to like activate in your system if you snort it rather than swallowing it.
Yeah.
So Elijah, if you ever need to take Mucinex,
yeah,
you could think about snorting it.
I'll look into that.
Oh my God.
But
not accurate.
but that's a thing.
Is it in a gel anyways?
It's in a gel.
Yeah, it's a
Don't
gel.
do it. It's gonna sting, bro.
It just, you see Elijah, it goes in one nose, comes out the other.
We're talking about Mucinex. That'll clear your sinuses real quick.
I know.
But I mean, that was probably my like first instance of drugs. But like now it's such a common thing. Like I see it. I don't see it all the time now because like COVID, I'm by myself 90% of the time. But like before, like I would see it often, and it's like you become almost like numb to it, sort of thing. Like you see someone smoking a joint, and you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I think for me, I don't know. I would say high school. My freshman year, I was starting to hang out with the wrong crowd, like these losers.
Oh no!
And they started smoking weed, and then I was like, "I'm cool." I dared to say no.
You were that like 1%.
I was at 1% that worked.
Nice.
And I went and found a much better crowd, but.
You found Mountain Dew.
Yeah. I already discovered Mountain Dew at that point.
You turned to the true gateway drug.
But
just for the record, I was also that 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but nowadays, like especially like I like throughout like high school, or not throughout, but like through college, and then like through everyday adulting. It's like I see it's far more common.
Yeah.
Like with like in terms of like weed, there's like 4 or 5 houses here in our apartment that I know smoke weed like daily because it smells horrible.
The college apartments and all that stuff. So,
yeah. And so those were like my only real experiences with any sort of drug. I know that there are others out there, but it's like weed is the most common one.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess to like an extent tobacco, but I mean, I smoke cigars every now and then for like real special occasions, and that's about it. And like with cigars though, like you don't actually inhale, so you're not really doing it. Like according to Bill Clinton's defense attorney. So, you know.
Yeah.
Never smoked a cigar.
It depends on what it is.
It depends on the cigar, but some can be really, really good.
Oh.
Yeah. They're weird. I mean, it was cool. I've done it with Elijah like a few times, but even then I get kind of like nauseous.
Yeah.
And that's just, I don't like feeling like that. Yeah. I can think back to middle school, like 7th and 8th grade. I just hung out with these dudes that were cool. And, we had a good relationship and friendship at first and all that stuff, but yeah, like they definitely ventured off into like weed and, just like, Chris was saying, like, bars came in, Xanax bars, and they snort that. And then all of a sudden you're just like, you were having a great time at somebody's house. And then somebody just like crashed out on the floor or something. You're just like, wait, what did they even do? Like, it was hard to even comprehend what was going on, like you're not even, it is something that just happens in the background. Like some people just do it like for themselves, and it's not even like a group activity.
Yeah,
that's kind of weird. But yeah, I never really, I always felt kind of weird for involving myself with people like that. I think it has to do with my upbringing, not necessarily D.A.R.E or anything, because I don't remember crap with D.A.R.E.
Yeah, I think it's my upbringing is
Yeah.
what made me say no rather
Yeah.
than dare.
Yeah.
You know, my body's a temple. You know,
And that's exactly right, dude. Like my body's in temple. I was like, you grow up in a a nice like Christian upbringing, go to church and you learn, you kind of learn right from wrong, I guess, and stuff like that. But I was just like, it just didn't seem right to me at all. Like I have kind of like an instinctual thing about all that stuff. And I mean, I didn't have my, first like alcoholic drink until like after high school.
Yeah,
Like a
same.
lot of kids were like drinking in middle school, like 8th grade. And I was just like, dude, you guys are weird, man.
Dude. So I was a little bit different in that aspect. In what drove me to not specifically with alcohol, with not drink alcohol, is that I saw other people drink it and I saw how annoying they got. I was like, I don't want to be that annoying.
Exactly.
So there was this in high school. It was I was junior year again. We would have these these shed parties. One of my friends would throw a party in her like shed in her backyard, which was
Her
pretty
she shed?
like, yeah, basically. It wasn't set on fire or anything. Shout out to the insurance commercial.
That was a good one.
But basically, we would go and everybody would drink. I was probably the only person that just didn't drink. And I would see people just drink and get drunk, get wasted. And they would come up to you and just, like, oh, man, I love you. Or like go on like these. And I'm like, dude, if you don't get out of my face right now, we're going to have an issue.
That's true.
That's what drove me to not try alcohol at first. And then afterwards, when I moved to California for a while, I was with my soccer team and like they were all really cool. They were all relaxed. So then I did have my first like drink there.
Yeah.
They also made sure I didn't die. So appreciate those guys.
Yeah, that's true. It like with alcohol, like it depends on who you're drinking with. Like there are certain people that shouldn't drink alcohol, and then there's people that you can actually have a good time with.
Yeah. It's like knowing your crowd. But
I thought you were gonna say, and then White Claw came out, and so I tried alcohol.
White Claw.
I thought it was just a normal seltzer.
I thought it was water, dude.
Alka-Seltzer Plus.
Dude,
it's gluten-free water, okay?
That's what I was about to say.
I mean,
how hard it is to find that.
But I think my senior year, I was lying about being that 1%. I definitely tried weed like my senior year of high school because it was something like it was now getting to that point where like I was trying to be my own person and not influenced by other people. So I had a group of friends in like my junior year of high school, like trying to tell me to do it. But it was one of those things where I was like, nah, man, if y'all get annoying on alcohol, I don't want to be around y'all when you do this because y'all are already annoying.
Yeah.
So then senior year, it got to the point where I wanted to try it. And eventually I did. And it was nice because I experienced, what it was like to smoke weed. And two, like I felt that calming because different people also react differently. Like I've heard people are paranoid when they smoke.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I've also heard people who are just like relaxed and fine. I've also heard people who just eat endless amounts of hot Cheetos. That was me.
Yeah.
And that's not like a bad thing at all. Like it was a perfectly fine, normal day. I just sat around. Obviously, I didn't get home because my parents would have killed me. I did eventually tell my parents, and they're like, they can't really do anything about it now. So they're like, oh, okay.
What if you told your parents and then like your dad's like, oh dude, check this out, and then he gives you Pineapple Express,
or he just like pulls out a bong, he's just bro.
I've been working on this one, it's like out of like a Coke can.
Yeah.
When I finally first told my parents, they told me about a few stories that they had when they were living in California, because we're originally from California, so I was born in California. And, I have other family there. So they had some stories of their own. And it kind of, I don't know. It's like little things like that almost you seem a little bit, you kind of relate a little bit more to your parents whenever they kind of like that's, and going off a previous point that we made, like when we bring up our kids, like that's what I want, like my kids to feel like when in terms of like drugs and alcohol. Like if they try it, let me know. I'm not going to be here to punish you. I'm going to tell you that you shouldn't be doing it at this age, but I can't really stop you from trying it. Just I want to make sure you're safe.
Mhm.
It's in a nice environment. It is in a good environment, that a controlled environment to where nothing weird will happen, nothing random will happen, everything will be fine. And just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons and with the right people.
So that's what I want to. So you were telling us about your experience with it. You know, so there's some people with paranoia when it comes to it. There's some people that get the munchies, or there's some people that just get like super mellow and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think there'd be like a benefit in explaining that to, your children or something like that, like in that way, hey, all right, let's talk about weed. you know, when you smoke it, there's, you might want to eat a bunch of food, like you get the munchies, it makes you hungry or something like that, right? It it makes you it might make you paranoid too. Some people get really paranoid on it. The But there are certain things about it that you need to know. Like there are
I
certain
think,
things that,
yeah,
like you might feel you're not going to want to get anything done. It's a very relaxing thing. You might it might actually associate it with certain activities too. Like whenever if you smoke it while you do this, you might not be able to not do that and smoke it at the
yeah,
same time.
Yeah.
Like that, like explaining it to him in that way, because the way Dare did stuff was
it's all
this
bad.
is the
You're
bad
gonna
thing that
die.
happens. You're gonna
Yeah.
Yeah,
die. But in actually not insulting their intelligence and saying, "Oh yeah, it feels good to want to have like a bunch of like let me get you a bag of munchies and you're gonna have a great time,"
Yeah.
But it like not not insulting that yeah, like it does feel pretty good, but
yeah.
Yeah.
there are certain things that happen along with that. What do you think about like that approach?
I like that approach.
Yeah.
Like, I wish more people in my life took that approach,
Yeah, yeah.
and it would have definitely helped shaped the opinion that I eventually got to about drugs and alcohol.
Right, right.
Instead of it just being the hard line, no, 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 you're gonna die,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know, and
And plus
having
we
that
don't
sort
even
of
know like the
exposure to it, it doesn't pique your curiosity as much as to just, well, they said no, so I'm gonna try it, you
yeah.
know.
I would much rather explain it that way, and it because it kind of puts the responsibility on, and I'm going to say my kid for this instance, like it'll
Yeah.
put the responsibility on my kid for in that instance, thinking that like, hey, I will lay out what could possibly happen. We can go over this as long as you want, as many days as you want,
Hmm.
but just know at the end of the day, when it comes to you making a decision whether or not you are going to try it or not, just be cautious and be careful.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's always the biggest thing, because again, like I said before, like nothing is ever a linear path.
Mhm.
You could branch off. There's can be several different reactions. Like I'm just giving you the experiences that I felt. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to hide my experiences from them, because I don't want them to think that like I'm sheltering them.
Yeah,
I
like you
want
can
to.
approach it like a real like yeah, it
Yeah.
feels great. Like you feel awesome and you eat stuff and everything's in, you're like in this other world and everything's calm and whatever. But here are some of the cautions you should take, like,
Yeah.
it's illegal, so who knows that you might get like a bad batch of something, it's
Yeah.
not regulated by anybody. Some people like to hurt people with this type of stuff, or,
Yeah.
it's laced with this and that. We don't quite know the effects on the lungs that it might have, putting like smoke. I mean, obviously the lungs aren't for any sort of outside
You're
substance.
putting
It's
a
for
foreign substance on your
Yeah.
lungs.
right, right. So you have to take that into account. But you're not saying that it doesn't feel good. Like we've already determined, like people go towards drugs because I mean, obviously people like feeling good. So it's yeah, like it's not insulting
It's
their
almost like giving them
intelligence. Yeah.
a pros and cons. You give them the pros and
Yeah, yeah,
cons, and
yeah,
at
yeah.
that point, let them make their decision, sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
But yeah, as someone I
As
say
a
that
dad,
now,
gonna be
but
tough.
like explaining that later on down the road is going to be a little bit intense. There's a show Blackish, and
Mhm.
the dad tries to explain like sex and girls to his kid on like episode 2.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know how to do it, and so they end up like both shirtless lifting weights for some reason.
What in the world?
It's funny. It's a funny show, but
Nice.
as someone who has experienced marijuana now and thinking about D.A.R.E like early on,
Mhm.
like it didn't come into my decision on. I didn't even think about D.A.R.E when it came to that point where I was like, you know what, I want to try it. It was again more of a personal thing, more of those like values that I picked up along the way from like family, friends, myself, thinking about things in a logical aspect. Like any decision that I made towards like I didn't drink until I was 21. Like making all those decisions up until that point were all based solely on like my character and what I developed like late on.
Yeah. I'm
So
thinking like even like a program that helped us make decisions, like if they were to set up something with their like, okay, this cigarettes are here, it makes you feel good, but your lungs or like or I don't even know what like a choice based program, instead of just hey, vow to not do drugs, like it actually like put us in a critical thinking type of thing and make us actually like make decisions. And if we make the wrong decision, then tell like hey, like here's what happens whenever you make that kind of decision. Think about that for a little bit. That way, like it's more of a critical thinking thing instead of hey, like think this way or you will die. It's just I don't know.
A little less with the extremities of it, like a little more of the fact that like, well, if you do this, then this could happen, or like several different things could happen, and then you pick out of those situations, and then several different things, like Hydra, like you cut off one tail, two tails, two more heads pop up. No,
I totally agree with that.
That would be a more of an awesome concept, I think.
For sure. You got me thinking about cursive earlier, dude. Like, I don't even remember how to do cursive, bro. Like, I haven't written cursive since elementary school.
I'll be honest, when I said that earlier, and then when I stopped talking, I got my finger and I started writing on on my desk to see if I knew.
That's what I was just doing, dude.
I don't know how to do cursive.
I don't know how to do any cursives, bro.
I know how to do my name, but that's it. Don't ask me to do anything else.
It's not been relevant in our daily life, that's for sure. So, we are at the start of our Labor Day weekend, which is really cool. Happy Labor Day for the people listening. And
shout out to the laborers.
Yeah, all of the laborers out there. I know that we all labor every single day. Elijah, why don't you tell us a little bit about Labor Day and its origin?
Well, our boy, Glover Cleveland, back in
shout out.
1893, was like, hey, there's a lot of labor unions forming and stuff, and like they're really pissed off about their, 14 to 16 hour work day, working 7 days a week,
Yeah.
So why don't we just give them 1 day a year that they can have
Just
off?
one.
Yeah, just one.
I heard you like labor, so I labored so that you could Labor Day on the Labor Day weekend.
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. And so since then, it's been, a day where labor is off. Of course, it's meaningless nowadays because, you can still go literally everywhere and everything's still open.
That's so true. Yeah.
But to me, though, it has a greater sense of it truly marks the end of summer.
Oh, okay.
Like this is the last bastion of summer that we can go out and, grill, go to the beach, stuff like that. It's also the start of football.
Unless you live in 2020, you can't really grill, but
or
go outside or do
barely
anything.
went to the beach last weekend. That was my summer. Like if this is the end of the summer, that was my summer, and wow, it's over. Oh god.
I went to Topgolf yesterday.
Oh, nice. They have a Topgolf there? That's cool.
Yeah. It's like half the size of the one in Austin, but it's still
really?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that, and then I took Val on a date there, and
Nice.
she like toward the end, she like looks at me and she's like, "This is the first time we've been out since March, like
Dang.
doing anything." And I was like, "Oh my god, you're right."
Yeah. This is actually so last weekend I went to Corpus to see family for like the first time in months, dude. I mean, we had not gone anywhere. And we went to the beach and stuff, so open area and all that good stuff. It was great. Yeah, we had a really good time. It was my mom's birthday, so we spent time there, and I got to see all the kids, like all the siblings. And then this weekend is actually going to be awesome because Emily's dad, my father-in-law, is coming up here at this moment actually to spend the weekend with us. It's freaking awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I just have not had that since freaking March, dude. Haven't seen anybody, haven't been able to, do anything. And
did he just say, "Yeah, I'm gonna go up to Austin"? Did you just like spontaneously decide that, or did you guys already plan that?
Yeah, we were trying to work something out. We were trying to actually work out like kind of a camping trip type thing. Like spend it outdoors and things like that. But a lot of the campsites, I mean, I think all of that's popping right now. So I think it was really hard to get the campsite reserved and stuff like that. So he was just like, you know what? Let me just like rent a car. Let's come up. We'll hang out. We'll have, a bunch of breakfast stuff. We'll go to the park. We'll go, there's an antique shop, Elijah's familiar with this one, the antique shop in Round Rock.
Nice.
And he's like, I mean, this dude has awesome stuff, like awesome
connoisseur of antiques.
Oh yeah. He's a connoisseur of anything antique. So we're going to take him to this cool spot in Round Rock. Yeah, it's gonna be really cool. He's actually gonna bring his dog. His dog's name's Roscoe. He's like a miniature pinscher, and he looks awesome. He's like a really cool looking dog.
Yeah,
and he has not met our dogs, so that's gonna be an experience. That's gonna be fun. But it's cool. Like we finally, like Labor Day weekend is gonna be legit because we're actually gonna like we're getting back with family and stuff. Like it's we're kind of figuring stuff out.
Yeah, I think we definitely moved away from what Labor Day is supposed to be for sure.
Oh yeah, I
kind of like the trending, like how we're like moving away from all these holidays. But like Labor Day is one of those peculiar ones because it's supposed to signify like your day of rest from labor, but like I mean, every McDonald's on the planet is still going to be open.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm about to get McDonald's for breakfast. Yeah.
Nice.
That Chips Ahoy McFlurry,
dude. I'm like dreaming about that thing, dude. The spicy nugs and the Chips Ahoy McFlurry, dude. Oh, man, I told Ellie about that. She's tripping, dude.
So I need to admit something. I may have slept on the chicken nuggets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, you did.
Last week I called them cardboard. They're actually they're a little bit better than cardboard. I hate to admit it. I was wrong. They're a little bit better than cardboard.
Oh my god.
They're pretty good. They're
all right. Cool.
All right, go ahead, Elijah.
A little backtrack there. That's cool.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing this week? What plans do y'all have?
This weekend, like this weekend, so Odin's got a hair appointment, so we're gonna get him groomed up.
Nice. Mohawk.
Dude, but
you have to do that like every week, dude. Because
it feels like it, dude.
Really?
That schnauzer grows some hair.
Dang, dude.
But
you have to learn how to do it yourself, bro.
I know.
Money.
I told her, I was like, Val, let's just get some shears, and she's like, no.
Dude, just brush him in shampoo. That's it. Yeah. you brush him before, and then you give him a bath.
No, dude, he's turning into like there's like this big sand pit at the dog park. And he's a little. I mean, he's a schnauzer, so he digs. He's a farming dog.
Yeah.
And that's like his favorite thing to do. He goes, he digs, he antagonizes the 400-pound pit bull, goes and digs.
Yeah.
We're doing that, and then we're going to Hobby Lobby and run some errands to finish up some wedding stuff. So we are now 29 days away. So everyone's freaking out. Just chill out. Okay, everyone.
Wow.
Maintain oneness, as my dad would say. So we're doing that, and then pretty much having a chill weekend. It's the first time like Val's like not traveling or going to Austin or whatever. So
right.
It's gonna be pretty chill. I'm excited.
Nice.
Are you going to buy anything but bridal stuff at Hobby Lobby though.
I told Val, since they have the fall stuff up,
Yeah.
and we have a bunch of like sunflowers and stuff for like that we put up for the summer and for her birthday.
Yeah.
And I was like, we should probably take that stuff down.
Uh-huh.
Maybe put up a hay
Dude.
bale or something. And she's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
she's like, stay focused. And I was like,
Oh,
okay.
stay focused. Yeah.
I will. But I'm gonna run to the fall section.
Yeah.
I'm
Just
gonna
on your
ditch
way
her.
out.
Yeah,
On
Just
your
a
way-
minute.
It's close to the exit. Just on your way out, just grab something.
exactly.
Well, what about you, Chris? What you got going on, man?
Probably, in all honesty, probably nothing. Just hanging back. I think my little brother and I are gonna grill.
Oh yeah.
But aside from that, I've been doing this MMA kickboxing class, or this
Mhm.
fundamental kickboxing class. So I have a class on Labor Day. So I'll probably just do that as well, and then eventually take Archie to the park. There's a park nearby where like
That's cool.
it houses like it's like a big park, and it's separated for small dogs and big dogs.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Archie does not like bigger dogs, so we're
Yeah.
finally going to be able to interact with the smaller dogs.
That's
So
awesome.
that'll
Dude,
be-
Odin doesn't give a hoot about the size of a dog. Like, we
Mhm.
let him play with this Great Dane.
Whoa, for real?
Those
Yeah.
are huge.
That's
Yeah,
awesome, dude.
there's like this Great Dane that lives here, and whenever it's out there, we let him go out there, and we like trying to get him to antagonize and get snapped at because he jumps on dogs and stuff.
Mhm.
Like, he doesn't know any sort of boundary yet.
Yeah, he was always a danger seeker, dude. He did
Oh,
not care
yeah.
about
Like,
anything.
he is brave.
Oh,
And he like antagonizes these other dogs. Like he'll jump in front of their face and stuff like that. But as soon as that dog starts playing with him, he immediately rolls over and submits, like shows his
Oh.
belly and stuff. And as soon as the dog turns around, he runs and jumps
he
on
does
them.
it again. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's typical.
And so we have him like
That's
we
awesome.
try to get him to run around with other like these bigger dogs, and it's crazy. This
Yeah.
the bravery of this thing.
Well, dude, I'm
Great
jelly.
day, dude.
I'm jelly. Y'all even have a freaking dog park, dude. They closed the dog park. Like that was so, and it puts us back in our puppies like development and stuff. They love socializing with more people and more dogs.
Yeah,
and it just sets them back like psychologically. It takes
like
them
the
a
thing
long
too is
time to come back.
you can stay separated 6 feet or whatever.
Oh yeah,
if at
It's
these dog
outdoors.
parks, you know.
And yeah, it's not like we're gonna spread COVID in that thing. It's way outdoors, and nobody's like, yeah, people talk, but we can talk like exactly like 10 feet away. It's no big deal.
Yeah,
And if anything, people are gonna have masks on. Like being outside is the one place where like it's least likely to like spread.
Exactly.
Like I found it really
rough, man.
defeating because when we went to Topgolf, we literally just wore a mask to walk inside.
Yeah.
And as soon as you're at your bay, which they have it like wrapped in like saran wrap now,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You don't have to wear your mask or anything like that.
Because you're in your like own bubble and stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, at
Yeah,
Whataburger,
that
I
works.
went to Whataburger. No one was wearing a mask except for the people that work there. I was wearing a mask because I was only there for a few seconds. But
Yeah.
yeah, no one. Also, that Pico de Gallo burger, quality.
Oh,
burger.
it's
actually pretty
good.
dang
Yeah, I was
dude.
surprised. I was surprised.
Like it's
got-
kind of like a cold hot type of thing going on.
It's like
And,
it's sweet, tangy too. Like
that
the
cilantro
savory
lime?
of the burger with like that sweet tanginess of the
Ooh.
cilantro, lime, and pico.
Yeah.
Kind of like it's different,
Mhm.
but good.
And I put some
Yeah.
jalapenos on there, just for the
Ooh.
extra little kick. And I mean,
I did the same thing.
Oh,
I
you
was
did?
like,
oh yeah, dude.
Oh my
Ooh.
god.
I love getting all my Whataburger burgers with jalapenos. Anything.
Yeah, same, dude. Dang, I'm hungry, dude. I
I know.
haven't
I'm
eaten
hungry
yet, so-
too.
Yeah. All right. Well, so let's get into our public service announcement for today. Elijah, what do you have for us, dude? PSA.
All right. I have a PSA against TikTok.
Ooh,
Chris, listen
don't
up.
we all? Chris, listen. Put your phone down, Chris. Put your TikTok
Hold
down.
on. I gotta watch this TikTok real quick. I got a notification.
Yeah. There's a new trend of people like ODing on Benadryl, which I don't even know how much
Oh my
Benadryl you have to
gosh.
take to do that.
As
look
we
that
just
up, dude.
shit on Dare.
I know.
I know. Now we're gonna
Don't
tell
This is
people
why
to dare.
This is why we need Dare.
Those people need to go through Dare. They well, what happens is apparently if you OD, like it has some sort of ingredient to where like you can hallucinate for like hours.
What?
And it's like real bad hallucination. And like the trend is to get that and then record yourself on TikTok during that hallucination. And so far, 3 people have been hospitalized, and I think 1 has died due to like Benadryl overdose because they're trying to trip out on this stuff.
Since y'all don't want to listen to D.A.R.E, I'm gonna tell you this.
Yeah. Stop it.
Stop being dumb.
Get some help. the OG public service announcement.
Yeah.
Stop it. Get some help.
Y'all remember the Captain America one in Spider-Man: Homecoming?
Yeah.
But like, I stop doing these challenges for clout. Stop doing these stupid things to go viral. You're just gonna hurt yourself. You're just gonna put yourself at danger. It's the same thing with the Tide Pod one that was popular not too long ago. Like,
or condom snorting.
What is that
one?
Wait, what?
Yeah, people were snorting condoms.
They're snorting the condom and then reaching in the back of their throat to pull it back out.
I don't understand what the point is of these. All you're doing is injuring yourself, and it does not look like a fun time. Just stick to the normal drugs like marijuana. I'm just
COVID-19. Yeah, COVID-19 is just making people bored as heck, dude. They're trying to. Oh man, like we got all these streaming services. Why are you trying to hallucinate for, dude? You got so much stuff to watch on TV.
I think that's what it is. Dude. Like, we need to get to the point where like everybody is quarantining themselves for at least like the time being, so we can stop the spread and we can get back out there. Because the fact that we are saying so quarantined for so long is just creating these situations that people are risking their own well-being to try something new. And it's getting ridiculous, dude.
TikTok, and like who? How does this become a trend? You know, like more than one person has to go, oh, that looks cool, share. Then like at least it starts there. And then all of a sudden
it's because the Chinese are implanting it in there and they're trying to get us to do it. That's what it is.
Dude.
And the worst part of it is with the trend, it's not just one person doing it. It's one person does it, another person sees, and they'll try it. And then so on and so. It's like a Ponzi scheme. It is legitimately a Ponzi scheme. Oh one person does it, then the next person comes, or the next few people come, and then more and more, and then it goes viral.
Gosh,
dude, TikTok is a pyramid scheme. Holy
my god! Oh, it is, dude.
What the heck? Our pyramid schemes have evolved so much.
We need to stop viewing and stop liking and stop watching TikToks.
They should just go watch and listen to our episode about TikTok and understand where we're coming from.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a great point, Elijah. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Before we finish out here, do you guys remember the scene in The Office where Michael is talking about something he did, or he's like in a pyramid scheme? He was like, one person gets another, and then Jim's like, no,
that's
it's
a pyramid scheme.
He goes up and draws it, and Michael's like, I gotta go make a few calls.
He's like, no, if I recruit you to sell, then you can recruit other people to sell, and then we can all purchase all that money.
Oh man.
Good
old Michael Scott.
Yeah, I know, right? Anyways, thank you guys for supporting. Thank you guys for sharing. Thank you guys for listening and watching us on YouTube. Definitely keep sharing us with your friends. Definitely keep supporting us. We're gonna keep coming out with great content. And also, we just love doing this. So there's that.
Heard.
But anyway, stay tuned for our next episode. We'll bring you something great. But in the meantime, check out our old ones. And this has been another episode of the Thought Arcade.
Bye.